I'm willing to discuss some concerns. I'm not willing to defend myself against labels. And the reason I'm not is because labels don't solve problems. I'm assuming you have something specific that you'd like to discuss, don't you? Have you ever noticed that the smartest people in the room are often the easiest to manipulate? And I don't think it's because they're weak or naive. I think it's because they're reasonable. And reasonable people have a dangerous habit. When somebody attacks them, they explain. When somebody accuses them, they clarify. When somebody smears them, they defend themselves. Now, that sounds like the mature thing to do. Sometimes it sounds like the professional thing to do. But what if I told you that's exactly what the other person is hoping you'll do? That's how they manipulate you. In fact, there's one sentence I've been teaching recently that completely changes the power dynamic in these conversations. And once you understand it, you'll stop trying to defend yourself and start doing something far more powerful. Because the biggest mistake I believe professionals make when they're attacked at work isn't saying the wrong thing. It's accepting the wrong role. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that role is, why it keeps getting you trapped, and the 4-part script that turns the spotlight back where it belongs. Let's talk about it. Most people believe that the purpose of communication is understanding. And when you're dealing with healthy, reasonable, emotionally mature people, that's often true. Stephen Covey famously said, "Seek first to understand, then to be understood." Yeah, that's wonderful advice when you're dealing with effective people. When you're dealing with people who are actually seeking understanding. But here's the mistake. Many of you are taking that principle into conversations where understanding isn't the goal. The other person is not trying to understand. They're trying to win. They're trying to dominate. They're trying to embarrass you. They're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to put you on the defense. And if you don't recognize that, you're going to spend the whole conversation trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. You are the only one trying to understand. You are the only one trying to communicate. You are the only one trying to explain. You are the only one trying to build a bridge. Meanwhile, the other person is trying to build a courtroom, and that's why you lose. Because you think you're having a conversation while they're conducting a trial. And just in one moment, when you start defending yourself, you have accepted the role that has been assigned to you. Defendant. They're the prosecutor, the judge, and the jury, and you're standing there trying to convince them that you're innocent? That never ends well. So here's the question. What happens if you simply refuse the trial? What happens if you stop defending yourself altogether? Before I show you the script, you need to understand the 3 attacks that it was designed to defeat. The first attack is a smear. You're difficult. You're toxic. Notice how these all begin with you're impossible to work with. Notice what's missing. Facts, evidence, specific examples. A smear is simply a label that was designed to provoke a defense. The second attack is anonymous authority. Everybody thinks. People are saying, the team feels. Really? Notice how they're referencing other people. Be alert to that. Which people? Who? Who specifically? That's one of the oldest manipulation tactics because it forces you to defend yourself against an invisible crowd. And the third attack is mind reading. You only did that because you don't even care about. You're just trying to. Interesting. How exactly would they know that? They don't. They're guessing, but they want you to defend yourself against their guess. Now, you have to write this one down because it is not a response. It is a framework. There are 4 parts. I am. I'm not. The reason I'm not. And you end with an assumptive question. For example, I'm willing to discuss facts. I'm not willing to defend myself against unsupported accusations. And the reason I'm not is because unsupported accusations do not help anyone. And honestly, I'm surprised that you'd make that mistake. I'm assuming there's information that you're missing, isn't there? Then stop. Let them answer. Do you see what's happening? You are no longer defending. You're examining. The spotlight has moved. Let's try this again. Somebody says, you're difficult. You say, I'm willing to discuss some concerns. I'm not willing to defend myself against labels. And the reason I'm not is because labels don't solve problems. I'm assuming you have something specific that you'd like to discuss, don't you? Stop. Silence. Let them work. Somebody says, everybody thinks you're hard to work with. You respond, I'm willing to discuss concerns directly. I'm not willing to defend myself against unnamed sources. And the reason that I'm not is because anonymous criticism can't be resolved. I'm assuming that you understand the difference between evidence and rumor, don't you? then stop. Somebody says, you only did that because you wanted attention. You say, I'm happy to discuss my actions. I am not willing to defend myself against assumptions about my motives. The reason I'm not is because nobody has access to another person's intentions. I'm assuming you know the difference between facts and a guess, don't you? Then stop. Notice the pattern. You're not explaining, you're not proving, and you are not justifying. You're forcing the other person to defend their accusations. That's the shift. Now, before I go any further, if you're finding this helpful, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we are building a community of people who know how to communicate with strength, dignity, and grace under pressure. And we're lifting one another up. We are teaching one another the signals and what to do because we're not letting one more person disappear just because they didn't know what the signals were or how to respond to them. So if you've ever frozen or over-explained or replayed conversations in your head or thought, oh, I wish I'd known what to say, you are in exactly the right place. Join us. It's free. Also, many of you have been asking about our new course. The new course is scheduled to be released by the end of this week. And because you're watching this video, if you would like a $100 discount before the public launch, send me an email at dan@danoconnor.training.com with the subject line, course. I'll make sure you get the information before everyone else. Now, here's the most important part of this whole video. The goal of this script is not to win or dominate or embarrass anyone. The goal is not to even change their mind. The goal is to stay connected to yourself. The goal is to stay connected to reality because attackers want something from you. They want your emotional predictability. That's how they manipulate you. That's the trap. They want to know exactly what buttons to push. They want to know exactly how you'll react because the moment they can predict your emotions, they can influence your behavior. That's why defending yourself is so dangerous. It makes you predictable. But when you calmly refuse the trial, something changes. Now they're the ones explaining. Now they're the ones justifying. Now they're the ones under examination. And that's where your power has been all along. Remember, you do not rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. So train this, practice this, role play this, write this down. And one day, soon, someone is going to try to put you on trial. And when the day comes, remember, you don't have to defend yourself. You can simply refuse the role. And remember this, there is nothing that you have to say that you can't say in a more loving way. Subscribe to this channel, join us. And if you'd like to join my new course, write me at dan@danoconnor.training.com. I'll see you in the next lesson.